The comic book industry's Literally Who is at it again, this time targeting the legendary Frank Miller for having the audacity to be angry with terrorists after 9/11. How dare he? To understand the situation, you must first understand the total douchery of the twat who did this. I won't say her name because her name literally doesn't matter. You've never heard of her, never read any of her books, and the only time her name even comes up is when she's weaponizing her religion and race against actually talented people, or just being racist. So here's what happened. Literally Who was pissy that someone people actually want to meet, Frank Miller, was the headliner for the Thought Bubble Comic Book Festival in the UK. Apparently she whined to them about this via email, and when that didn't work, she took to Twitter to say she wouldn't be attending the festival because she thinks all Muslims are terrorists. So if anyone writes a comic where the hero kills terrorists, they must be anti-Muslim. She's talking about Frank Miller's Holy Terror comic. He wrote this shortly after 9/11 happened and originally was going to star Batman, but DC Comics got nervous, so Miller rewrote it with not Batman and not Catwoman, taking out a bunch of terrorists. It's not his best work by any stretch of the imagination. I remember it being announced and thinking, come on man, you're better than this. I don't really have a problem with the concept though, only that Miller at the time had really fallen off his game, and I had a feeling it would be bad. Based on everything I've heard, the art and story aren't up to his usual standard. The book was eventually released in 2011, so we're about 10 years after it coming out, and but for a few SJWs, the book was largely ignored. So why does Literally Who claim the book is anti-Muslim? Because this is her shtick. Something about this situation seemed familiar, and when I watched Ass from Hill vs. Babyface's video, I realized why. I already made a video about this twat doing the same shit back in 2017. That time she bitched about a convention in a small British town being too white, because how dare a country that's 80 to 85% ethnic British be predominantly Caucasian? That time the festival she attacked blocked her ass on Twitter, only to turn around and apologize, and promise to be more diverse next time, and then apologize again for defending themselves. A few months later, Literally Who got a comic book canceled because it was about a terrorist no longer wanting to be a terrorist. A suicide bomber sits in a library was going to be about a boy who intended to blow up the library, reading the books while he was waiting to do the deed, and changing his mind about his actions. Outside of the stupid title, there's nothing wrong with the premise of the story. Unless you're Literally Who thinks all Muslims are terrorists, so if you write a comic about a terrorist no longer wanting to be a terrorist, that's anti-Muslim. Literally Who made a stink, and the creator of the book eventually apologized and pulled the book. This is what she does, and she's good at it only because the people she does it to are cowards who bend the knee the moment she shuffles her job in their direction. So she rolled out her little thread on Twitter saying she won't attend the Thought Bubble Festival, however will they survive, claiming, quote, I cannot comprehend how time and time again, festivals and communities within comics espouse values regarding inclusivity, diversity, comics being for everyone, zero tolerance on hate, but all that lip service evaporates when they are asked to enact those same values. This issue from 2017, quote, 66 guests, white, with a mild sprinkle of East Asia. There's really no excuse for any comic show to look like this anymore. Thought Bubble has zero tolerance on hate, yet they invited your racist ass. Frank Miller is a legend, and there's nothing credible in your claims that he's racist. This man has worked with scores of people. If there was anything to that claim, we'd have heard about it by now. You're just salty because even libraries won't buy your books. When Frank Miller leaves us, he will be missed. When you leave us, we'll never even know you were there. Now, my second favorite part about this whole thing is that after Thought Bubble bent the knee and removed Miller, Literally Who said she wasn't going to attend the festival. So y'all did all this to appeal to this twat, and Dear Muslimina won't even show up. And then y'all got attacked on Twitter by the usual suspects, whining about how long it took you to kick out Miller. This got so bad that they blocked people from replying to their tweets. Pussies. But my favorite part is that Literally Who was so traumatized by the situation that her immediate follow-up tweets were about pimping out her crowdfunding campaign. That's right, it looks like this was all done so Literally Who could get pity money for a Kickstarter. She doesn't give an amber herd about Frank Miller. He was just a tool to get people to support her little campaign. You know, maybe if you weren't so racist and insufferable, you wouldn't have to e-bag. If this ain't the most trifling, scuzzy, racist hack you've ever seen, you might be looking at the other Literally Who. At least this one didn't get a guy to commit suicide, although I'm sure that's not from lack of trying. And now that this is out, Comics Literally Who is whining about the attention, encouraging her 12 Twitter followers to false flag videos criticizing her racist ass. That's not going to stop a thing, you precious desert snowflake. because everybody knows what you're about now. Leave Frank Miller alone. He's old. He's worn himself out with drugs and booze. He's given us some of the best comic book stories ever written. And in general, he appears to be a decent dude. No one with a functioning brain will ever side with you, or believe you, or support you. And if you keep this up, the only thing you'll be remembered for is thinking all Muslims are terrorists. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.